Fanzone, united by the game, powered by MWOS World of Sport.
Welcome to Fanzone, your hottest and latest destination for all Zimbabwean sports. We're bringing you passion, drama, and non-stop action, all happening here in the Fanzone studio. My name is Sips.
And I'm Steve Vickers. Drama indeed. Massive results in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League this past weekend. Arguably the game of the season. Scotland beating FC Platinum 5-2 to end FC Platinum's 22-game unbeaten run. Dynamos getting a victory at last. We'll talk about that one as well as Anika Yese Irikufara. And meanwhile, Zimbabwe doing their business quietly with a 1-0 win over Chicken Inn. Great guests on the show again this week. Alvin Ndunduma from the FC Porto Academy, a coach there. Welcome, Alvin.
Thank you, Steve. So happy to be here on the Fan Zone.
Yeah, well, I used to watch you playing when you were a teenager with Blackpool.
Yeah.
Well,
happy to be here.
Yeah,
Thank
quite
you
a
so
career. Blackpool, Arcadia, Motor Action. He went to Vietnam, also played in Mozambique, and now coaching at the FC Porto Academy. Also, we're talking volleyball on the show this week. Mxcolisi Ndlovu is with us, the president of the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association. Welcome, MX.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, viewers.
And first of all, we'll say congratulations, Zimbabwe getting a great gold medal at the Region 5 Youth Games recently.
Yes, the teams did very well. It was actually a great opportunity for them, and I think they actually showed the technical expertise and the talent which we have in Zimbabwe.
Look forward to digging into volleyball later on Beyond the Pitch, Sips.
Well, there's so much to talk about, so let's dig into that matchday roundup and what happened over the PSL weekend in matchday 24. Matchday 24, what a weekend. There definitely was a theme, and that theme was upsets. You know, Bakita Minerals beat to Caps 2-1. Talwan lost at home 1-0 against Manika Diamonds. Even Green Fuel put a goal up against ZPC Kariba, who didn't reply. And probably the biggest defeat and the most surprising result was the 5-2 win Scotland had over FC Platinum. Wow, that was quite the result. You know, after 22 unbeaten matches, Scotland came in 5 goals, Time Machope with a brace. Great result for Scotland.
Yeah, incredible result. Absolutely amazing performance from Scotland, who are bang there in the title race now. That was a huge 3 points for them. They were just too strong. Really devastating performance. Who would have thought we would have seen a second half substitution with Kama Billiard and Knowledge Musona coming on in the local PSL? That shows the quality of the Scotland side. They're really good. FC Platinum, 8 goals conceded all season going into this game, and then they ship 5 goals in one match. For me, Scotland are huge contenders now, Sips.
Yeah, 5 games on the trot. In fact, going into this match, FC and Scotland were both 4 games on the trot. Scotland obviously getting the 5th. Zimbabwe will be biting their nails a little bit. They will have an eye on what Scotland is doing because they've really risen up the ranks in second, just 1 point behind the log leader Zimbabwe. I mean, it's going to be exciting exciting end to the season.
Yeah, I mean, 10 games to go now, so we're getting into the run-in. I think whoever's going to be the champions has got to win probably 6 or 7 games because the pace is just so hectic there. I still think Zimbabwe might just struggle a bit when they have their CAF Champions League games as well there, so that still remains a question whether they can keep it up there. Hey, but this race is something else. MWOS dropping points again now. That's 2 points from a possible 15. Just 2 wins and 3 defeats in their last 5 for MWOS. So this is a really bad patch.
Yeah, it is. Losing to Dynamos, it will be a very disappointing result for MWOS, especially since Calvin Kayindu, the head coach, wasn't even at the Dynamos camp the whole week. Thomas Raziwe was there for Dynamos, the assistant coach. And so very, very disappointing. An absolute mess in the midfield for MWOS. It just, didn't know what to happen.
Alvin, you were there at Rufaro Stadium
I
on
was.
Saturday. Tell us about the celebrations when that penalty came.
It was
in the
so
75th
emotional, it was very passionate. I watched one lady that was crying because her dad used to bring her to Rufaro and watch Dynamos play. So after the game, Dynamos winning, there were a lot of emotions, and it was quite a very good match, and I enjoyed it. Watching Denver Mkamba come on and take that shot, which the keeper spilled, and then the penalty and the whole stadium erupting after the game. It was like bringing back the old days again. And
Yeah.
I think Dynamos might actually survive with the kind of performance that they put
You
on.
think they might? Denver
I
was
think they do.
rousing the crowd, getting
Yeah.
them to cheer when he came on as a sub. You think he can be the
I think
influence
so.
that they need?
I really do. And I think it's just getting the confidence back and grinding a few results in Rufaro, which they might play maybe 6 to 7 games in Rufaro, and they'll be playing at home. So I hope they survive. I really do.
Yeah, wow. So some hope. But 7 points, were 6, but technically 7 because their goal difference is bad away from safety. It's still a big gap to turn around, Sips.
It is, but a vital and crucial 3 points that Dynamos have collected. So let's see how they do throughout the rest of the season. Maybe Kaindu will eventually make it into camp. I know there are a bit of contractual issues from the executives and Kaindu themselves. But that sort of wraps up Match Day 24, Steve. So let's introduce the Fanzone Team of the Week for Match Day 24.
So Team of the Week, this is how we saw it. Maybe you saw things differently. You can put your comment in the comments section. We got 2 Dynamos players in our Team of the Week for the first time. Goalkeeper Prince Taferimutsa, he did well between the sticks for Dynamos, and Captain Emmanuel Jalai once again put in a big shift for Dynamos. Our other defenders also wing backs, Talent Chamboko, big performance at left back as captain for Ngezi Platinum Stars in that really exciting 1-1 draw at Barberfields away to Highlanders. Kwekwe United have a player there as well. Proud Gore Kore scored with a free kick. It was unstoppable, the free kick from him, but also he played really well at right back for Kwekwe United, despite the defeat to Herentals. In midfield, Ngezi's Tinashe Mavudzi, he got the goal, but besides that, he was looking very dangerous down the right wing throughout for Ngezi. Mason Mushore for Highlanders, big performance in midfield for him. Now, the Highlanders hit the crossbar twice in that game as well, so might have been unlucky to just get a point from that. Matthias Chiweta only played a few minutes for Scotland on his debut, but 2 assists coming from that short spell there, so he deserves to be in our Team of the Week. Herentals, Prince Mahembe, very impressive performance from him with a goal and an assist in the win against Kwekwe United. Up front, Walter Musona, another of the outstanding Scotland players on Saturday, converting a penalty, but influential as Walter's game has picked up in the last few outings for Scotland. Timon Machope, well, what more can you want? 2 very well taken goals for Scotland in that epic contest. And Clive Rupia for Green Fuel, getting the winning goal there. He's been playing quietly and quite well up front for Green Fuel of late. So that is our Team of the Week. There were many others actually that we could have included because there were so many great performances over the weekend. Let us know what you think. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree.
Yeah, I think we have a really solid Team of the Week. Maybe you could have had a Reason Sabanda in there. He had a very good outing for Highlanders. But other than that, really, I think strong Team of the Week.
Yeah, Reason played well, definitely, and Highlanders just got better as the second half went on, and there's a fantastic atmosphere there at Barberfields.
Well, that brings us to the end of the PSL segment. We're going to be now looking at the Division 1, what happened over the weekend. Most of the regions are in full swing, except for the southern region, but let's take a look at what Steve has to say. Steve, what is the Division 1 roundup?
Yep, so the northern region is back after a mid-season break, and the 2 leaders, Mombayawara and Agama, both got victories. Former Dynamos forward Eli Ilunga scored both goals on his debut for Mombayawara in the 2-0 win over Ngezi Platinum Stars under-19s. Second placed Agama beat Chegutu Pirates with regular scorers Tinashe Balakasi and Grey Kufandada on the score sheet. Third place Golden Eagles were held to a goalless draw at home to Harare City. So Fanzone was there at the game. We spoke to both of the captains, Tatenda Hapazari and Tafazwa Chigwida.
Yeah, we were supposed to utilize the home advantage. Yeah, they came here, they were away, so to them it's a point gained, and for us it's 2 points dropped. But it's a game of football, like I have said. There are 3 results: you win, you lose, you draw sometimes. So today I think it was their day because we were supposed to utilize that chance we have get through a penalty. So it's a game of football. Anything can can happen.
The last game transferring in 100 bench, but come and pressure to say team yakati chikaya pa home tukwenda kwa iri kwa way, but ndongoti ne draw it's good for us. It's good for us. Yeah. Then coach wangu andedza anondudza then uyu munhu azotadza pena achinja side mini anakatoziva kuti ndokwada kuita pangu chinja side zvangu zvaita but I'm scared.
You were scared.
So 0-0 it was between Golden Eagles and Harare City in the northern region. In the eastern region, season striker Agrippa Murimba, remember him, he scored on his debut for Masvingo United, getting a second half equaliser in the 1-1 draw away to Rusitu Tigers. Murimba signed for Masvingo United during the mid-season transfer window from Kwekwe United in the PSL. Leaders FC Hunters won 1-0 away to Great Zimbabwe University. Third place Tenax are not in action as they're taking part in the prisons and correctional services games. The central region returns from mid-season this coming weekend. Log leaders Shesham take on Matobo, and second placed Hard Rock play ZRP Gwanda. And the southern region is now on a break.
Well, that rounds up the match day in the PSL and Division 1. It is Chibuku Super Cup coming up this weekend and preliminary midweek fixtures to take it down to round of 16. So let's talk about what's coming up this weekend and looking ahead. It is all action in the Chibuku Super Cup, which is starting this week. As I said earlier, preliminary matches are happening in the midweek fixtures. On Wednesday, it is Yada versus Dynamos, and then on Thursday, it is Triangle versus Kwekwe. So lots to play for here. They have to play those 2 matches to get the round of 16, and then Saturday and Sunday is when the first round kicks off. Steve, I think we're going to be having a very interesting Super Cup this year around. Dynamos obviously won last year. It's unlikely they'll win. We're going to see what happens. But Yada versus Dynamos, I think Yada will come through, and then Triangle will come out in another match between themselves and Kwekwe.
Yeah, I think so. Triangle, that should be pretty straightforward against Kwekwe United because they're playing well. For the Dynamos Yada game, Yada, good signings. Didn't get a win at the weekend. It was goalless, but I think they're an improving side as well. But Dynamos will be full of confidence. Defending champions as well, let's not forget.
Yeah, that is true. In the round 1 fixtures at MWOS Stadium, it'll be MWOS versus Caps United. These 2 teams have met a couple of match days ago, or rather a number of match days ago, where MWOS just pipped Caps United 2-1. However, since then we have seen a shift in momentum. Caps have slowly started climbing, whereas MWOS have really stumbled in their momentum. Both teams are coming from a rather disappointing loss, so we'll see how that plays out on the weekend, but based really on form, I think we might be seeing an upset of Caps United beating MWOS.
It's a possibility. MWOS might be inspired, maybe, knowing that there's another trophy to fight for here, but that's a tight one. I'm sure the fans will be there in big numbers. I don't know, Alvin, as a former player, when a cup comes onto the horizon, how does that motivate the guys?
Well, Caps are the cup kings, aren't they? Well, I watched MWOS on Saturday. I think a little bit of fatigue is creeping in. I don't know how big the squad is, but if you see the big teams, Scotland, the Platinums, the Simba, they've got a bit of squad rotation going on, and I'm not sure, but I think their legs are getting a bit tired. They were getting the final third, but not being able to finish. But I like Caps in the cup games. I think they do very well. It's going to be an interesting one, especially playing in Ngoni Stadium.
Yeah, I'm sure some of these ties will end in penalties, shootouts, sips. Expect loads of drama.
Yeah, loads of drama. It is a knockout tournament, so must-win games. If you lose, obviously nothing further for you. And Alvin, you are joining us on the set today, FC Porto coach. Tell us a little bit more about your academy and what it means for you.
Sips, I'm pretty excited. I was coaching in the PSL. I was at Cranbourne Bullets as a performance analyst. So when this opportunity came up, working with the kids, I was very excited because I'm also a product of junior football. I was at the Black Rhinos, I call it a school of excellence, where they had the under 12s and the 14s right up to the first team. And I really benefited from that system. Learning the basics, being disciplined, working hard, putting in the shift. So I just want to give back my experience working at FC Porto, and I'm coaching an under 11 team that is, it just gets me going, and they're very good. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
And FC Porto, there's a team based in Portugal, and you do have ties with that club.
Yes,
how is that
we are
relationship?
in partnership with the FC Porto Dragon Force School. So ours is not only an academy, but it's a football school where the kids come in, we gather, we put them in assembly, we go into class, we put the projectors, we play some videos, then we get on the pitch. After the pitch, we analyze. So I think for us, it's a subject. These kids are being taught how to play football and our training methods. We send reports to Portugal. We're in partnership. The coaches come through. We get coaching education on how we need to coach them, the different age groups. So it's part of our evolution on development, and we're just trying to introduce this methodology, which I think is working very well.
Wow, just sounds so glamorous, doesn't it? FC Porto, former European champions. What are some of the things that you're big on at the academy, Alvin?
Steve, I think the big thing is getting the kids in and being part of the institution and teaching them the life skills, what they should do after their careers. Not everyone is going to make it, but we try and help them grow, being disciplined and obviously staying away from the mischief. But also we want to tour. We want to travel to Portugal. We want to play in the tournaments. We want to give them exposure. We want to do cultural exchange programs. So I think it's a life-changing experience, especially for the little ones, and how they'll grow and develop.
Wow.
And also mentioning how we've come up in the last 2 years. We've produced a player that's playing in Europe, signed in Portugal. He's playing for Gil Vicente. It's the first Zimbabwe, second after Freddie Mkwesha, to play in Portugal. And we've got 2 that played in the recent COSAFA tournament. So I think we've got a bit of evidence to motivate the other kids, wanting to stay on and do the development process and learn. Yeah.
That's exciting. What kind of football are you teaching them as coach?
Well, the FC Porto methodology is based on the passion, ambition, the vigour and the competence. They want to do everything 100% from us, the coaches, the session planning. It has to be 100%. You prepare 2 hours before. We send the reports. We're doing live videos. We send our training. And now for us, we're teaching them more speed and more quality and more control. That's the evolution, and we try and make the pitch better. We try and water it so that the ball moves faster. So it's part of the integration. When they go to Europe, it will be easy. Rather than they playing on hard grass and then they go to Anfield, it becomes difficult. So we're trying to prepare them to play professional. Yeah.
So the right pitch quality is important
It's
if you
very important.
want to go to Europe, obviously, to get used to playing on that surface.
Yes.
So when Cranbourne Bullets were in the PSL, you were with them as analyst.
Yes.
And you're using analytics as well at the academy. Tell us about the benefits.
Well, at the academy, we're not doing the GPS and the tracking as yet, because the kids, they're still growing, and we want to give them the freedom and the experience to grow. But for the main team, we call them the elite squad, the under 18s. That's when we're starting to do the analytics. We are putting in the science. We're concentrating on the diet, the recovery period, the amount of minutes they need to play. And it's actually a big issue right now with us, the academies. We're developing these players. And then the PSL clubs, most of them are not complying with club licensing. And they come to the academies. They want our boys, to be registered. We register the boys, but the boy ends up 6 months, he's not playing, so he's not getting the minutes that we were preparing him for. And, that's a big challenge, but those are technical issues that, can be worked out. But we need to develop these kids and make sure they continue playing.
What do you think about youngsters getting to play in the top flight, because you played for Blackpool when you were just 18. Great performances in midfield, I remember it in those days. But the under-21 Euros, it was pointed out that very few of those guys who featured there are getting regular first-team football with top clubs in Europe. We had Lamine Yamal, of course, at Barcelona, but generally, is it harder for a teenager to get into the first team now?
I think now it is. For us, it was much easier because we had this school of excellence, the Black Rhinos, the Caps, the Highlanders. You knew players playing from under 14 right up to under 18, and you'd all progress, in the same year. You'd play cup competitions together, and it was easy for the selectors as well to make an under 20 team. Whereas for now, with the pressure, for the coaches to get the results, it's difficult for them to trust a young boy that they're getting from an academy as well. He's not coming from the Dynamos system and playing for the first team. He's getting them from FC Porto, and so it's going to be much difficult. And I think we need to get back to where we had, you remember the reserve league, Steve, when Dynamos are playing caps. They have the reserves playing at 12. That's when the under 18s used to play, and people grow and they develop. And the coaches maybe can watch and say, oh, maybe he's ready now to give me maybe 20, 25 minutes. Yeah.
Sometimes a real youngster is fearless and they can give you an extra dimension, isn't it?
Yes. Like you can see this guy, Mafias Chibuku, is it?
Yeah.
He is very good. He's very good. And we saw him at Prince Edward. That's the Lions Academy. And then it was Islanders. But it's very difficult because you have to be exceptionally good for people to notice you and you get that game time, especially these big teams.
Yeah. And also, Alvin, you mentioned before you're starting to use analytics. We had Farai UI on the show from Legends Academy a couple of episodes ago, and he said that in Zim there's not enough emphasis on collecting data and information about players and getting specific information and data. Would you agree with that sentiment? I know you're enforcing it at FC Porto, but generally around football, PSL, Division 1, is there enough emphasis on data?
I think there isn't enough. I think maybe the top teams in the PSL, those that are progressing with the evolution, and getting the exposure from outside, it's easy for the coaches to work if they collect enough data. I remember when we were at Cranbourne, we used to do it manually, collect the stats, the free kicks, the set pieces. But then things have changed now. They're doing it with the laptops, and it's very difficult. I think we need a lot of more funding towards that for the teams. I think that's where the club licensing also comes in. Then you can keep up with the Sundowns and the Wydad, and yeah.
And in your academy, obviously you're training young players, and they're going to be doing lots of football. Once they are finished in your academy, where do you like to see them go? Is it maybe locally into the PSL? Is it overseas? Or is it wherever the best opportunity is for that player?
Our main goal for the academy is to obviously send the kids to Europe and possibly in Portugal, which would be the first destination. But it is also difficult to break through, and we try to loan them to the local teams, the PSL teams, so that they gain the exposure. Not all the kids will make it. Some will get on with their careers and some will go to education. But we want to try and talent identify, the special ones that we can say we can develop to maybe play for Zim. If you play for Zim, then you get the number of caps, you get recognized, and then you can play abroad. It's not an easy job, and I hope and wish, that all the stakeholders, in Zim can help these academies, with the equipment, with the infrastructure, with the funding. Like there's an issue now with the academies. They're charging money, they're paying $10, they're collecting money from their parents. Our kids are not playing, but these academies, they need to run also the operational costs. They need to pay the coaches, they need to do the equipment, the wear and tear. So I just hope, stakeholders come in and they help these academies, and then we develop the players for the national teams, like what they do at volleyball. They start early and you invest now, they're winning gold. So that's the main goal, that's the end game where I think we need to go.
Maybe just give us a quick word for parents. Like you say, not everybody who enrolls at the academy is going to make it to Europe, but tell us what do you believe are the wider benefits of joining a football academy?
I think with us, it's the culture exchange. Having the coaches from Portugal come in, and then they see them, they tell them about their history, and then we also tour. And the exposure of being associated with a brand like FC Porto, how we every kid that joins in, we show them their history, the videos, the Benny McCarthy lifting the Champions League, and try and bring the passion into them so that they may like the sport. Because some parents, they bring the kids, but they're not. We have a kid that went to Qatar. He's doing robotics. And then he came and said, Coach Alvin, I was in Qatar, I was doing robotics, but I like soccer, I like to kick the ball, I like to score. So we try and balance. And obviously this kid is not interested in soccer. He's going to be doing AI somewhere. But these are some of the kids that we face, from different backgrounds. And we just want to nurture them in different ways.
Interesting.
Yeah. And with FC Porto, there's a lot of work you do, not just on the football pitch, but in the classroom, projectors, learning how to, different types of plays and screens. Have you found any pullback from parents? I know sometimes the thinking of parents in Zim is a sport is not going to get you anywhere. Have you ever felt that, and has it been hard to pull in more customers and more children into your academy because of that mindset?
I think with my experience, I think with the kids, the generations that we are coaching now, from the under 9, under 11, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo just blew the world up with wanting kids to play football, and kids are coming at the training with Messi's number 10 and Ronaldo. I think they changed the whole football ecosystem and landscape. So it's not easy for us to get kids. But what's more difficult is for how we maintain our standards and the brand and the training methods and how we implement the methodology. Are we developing kids that can play in the PSL, that can play in the national team, that can go to Europe? That's the main challenge. And I think if a lot of academies, they're working very hard. All these players that are playing the PSL, they're from the academies, because we haven't had a vibrant junior system for a while. And I think academies deserve a lot of recognition, and they deserve a lot of more support so that we can develop for not only for us but for Zimbabwe. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Alvin. That was so insightful. And that is the FC Porto coach Alvin Ndunduma. But now that we've come to the end of looking ahead, let's take a look at what's been happening in the Predictor over the weekend. Alright, the MWOS PSL Predictor leaderboard is sort of unchanged, at least the top two. Icon 505 still at the top, Simba second and following shortly, but a great job to Kumo, who's climbed up 5 places from 8th into 3rd, and a new face, Pablo, has come into the top 10. But I'm glad to say that it wasn't just me who had a bad weekend. All around, a couple of general scores. It was a pretty tough predicting weekend. Steve, how was your predictor?
I had a shocker, Sips. I couldn't even get one correct. Who thought Tel 1 were going to lose? Who thought Caps were going to lose? But what I'd say is, if you're playing and you have a bad weekend, don't give up, because everybody does, and most of us did this weekend. So yeah, it was just a difficult one, and that's all part of the fun. But we keep moving.
Yeah, it definitely was my lowest scoring weekend by far.
Yeah.
But as Steve said, we go again. Still 10 matches up for grabs. Still a lot to win. And just a reminder for those of you who may be a little bit further down the table, if you don't know quite what you're playing for, first place is a beautiful Suzuki Espresso, a lovely, nifty car that you can be driving. It seems that Icon 505 has got one hand on the steering wheel at the moment. So if you're feeling a little bit jealous, put your predictions in. Don't forget. And second, we've got a 150cc engine motorbike. Again, who loves a motorbike? It's got a lovely roar to it as well. And moving down into 3rd place for all the prizes, we've got a 5 kVA generator. For obvious reasons, that is a very helpful equipment to have with all these podcasts going on. Very great to have. And even for 4th and 6th places, we've got laptops, and then all the way down from 7th to 16th, we've got 40-inch smart TVs. not any regular, but smart TVs. And even one of them has been given away this week in the sweepstake prize. So if you've been doing your predictors, you will be eligible to win one of these TVs. Steve, there's so much to win here, so much to grab a hold of. What excites you most of the prize that I've just listed?
Hey, well, it's loads of fun, isn't it? So as well as having fun, you can get yourself a great prize. I think the generators are great, but I'd love a big screen to be watching the football on as well. If I don't win the big prize, that is,
Yeah. Well, there's also the car. That would be lovely to have a nice new car, Suzuki Espresso. But yeah, make sure you do your predictions. Fanzone.co.zw. Sign yourself up for the Predictor. It's really good fun. Sometimes you have good weekends, sometimes you have bad weekends. But always, it's very fun. I enjoy putting my predictions, even when I do badly. So, more PSL Predictor. But now, let's go to Beyond the Pitch. We'll be talking of volleyball, layups, and smashes with the president of the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association, Mxcolisi. Beyond the Pitch, this is the segment where we take a break from the PSL and football and we look to what else is happening in other Zimbabwean sports. We have invited Mxcolisi Ndlovu, the president of the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association. He's going to be shedding light on what is going on in the volleyball world. Wow, MX, it's great to have you on the show. We know that your under-19s did well in the Region 5s, gold medals, and there's also upcoming competition from your under-20s. They're going to be playing at the African Nations Volleyball Championship. How are the preparations going for that? I know there's a fundraiser. You'll be hosting a dinner, an event. But how are the preparations for the team going?
Obviously, the team was intact. It's still intact. We just have to beef it up with one or two players who couldn't qualify for the Region 5 games because of the age. This one is 1 year higher age than the one which was in the Region 5. But the team is in good shape. The technical team is working out on everybody else. So we have actually managed to register our first T20 for the Africa Champion Nations, and we hope we'll be good to go.
And so you're the president. You're in charge of pretty much a lot of the volleyball, whatever's happening on the international scene, but also locally and the local clubs. You also have, the Premier Volleyball League. How's that going? Does that league feed into all the national teams?
Yes, obviously, you're talking about the Premier Volleyball League. It's our top product in Zimbabwe volleyball, where we run both men and women Premier League competition. We have 14 teams for men coming from all over the country. We've got 12 teams for women coming all over the country as well. We play in a tournament format, but they then gain points. At the end of the year, we play then what we call the Super 8, where we have the top 8 teams playing quarterfinals, semifinals, and eventually we get the final winner of the Zimbabwe Premier Volleyball League. I think we're going into week 4 now. We'll be left with 2 weeks. Then we go to the Super 8. A lot of games being played in a weekend where we have got this Premier Volleyball League. So if we have got time, whether we are in Harare, whether we are in Gweru, I think we'll go to Bulawayo and other cities outside Harare. We'll have a galore of volleyball matches to watch.
And when it comes to regional volleyball, Region 5, we normally do very well at club level there, MX.
Yes, we have done well. I think for the past 4 or 5 years, our teams have always finished on podium performance. A good performance in the male side, but we haven't really done well in the ladies category where we need to actually put up a lot of work. But yeah, we so far so good in the male category. I think national team Region 5, our boys got gold in Malawi. We have defended the gold in Namibia. The Zone 6 Club Championship in December last year in Botswana. Our main teams played in all Zimbabwean finals. University of Zimbabwe versus Highlanders. University eventually won the competition. So we have been doing very, very well in the regional competitions.
Tell us about the facilities, because volleyball is played indoors, but we play indoor volleyball outdoors because our courts are outdoors. But then when you get to Region 5 youth games, you're playing indoors in a state-of-the-art hall, and volleyball is different when you're playing indoors. Just explain a bit to us.
Yes, it's a big challenge to us when it comes to facilities, and we hope going forward we'll have the city fathers government maybe looking into issues to do with facilities. Obviously, maybe the uniformed forces, the universities should look at the facilities for particularly what we call indoor sport, because we don't have appropriate facilities for indoor sport, hence we end up playing outdoor. The competition is different, the equipment is different for the outdoor and indoor. So you look at the playing ball. The competition ball for the outdoor is different from the competition ball of the indoor. And that makes quite a difference when you go to a competition where you will play in a different environment, particularly you play indoor. But what we do, we try to find private players who have got indoor courts, so that on preparation for the competitions we can get our athletes to acclimatize to that particular environment, acclimatize to the ball and the conditions. You play with lighting and you use the natural sunlight. So it's all those issues which really count. And you might find that your first match, your athletes are kind of like struggling until then they get used to the playing environment.
Tell us a bit about beach volleyball. You're in charge of beach volleyball as well. We started playing 20 or so years ago in Zimbabwe. Of course, we don't have a beach, but I remember sand was put in Warren Park and in Highfield in Harare as we got into beach volleyball. Even played on the Save riverbed when it was dry a couple of years ago as well. But then when we get to All Africa Games and play nations who have real beaches like Mozambique, Seychelles, Mauritius and so on, it gets a bit tough for us. Take us through the technicalities of beach volleyball and your challenges.
Yes, Steve. I think if you then look at the beach volleyball, really is more to do with the conditions, because we have got improvised courts in Zimbabwe where we then dig and have to put sand, and sometimes the sand is not of the appropriate depth. Sometimes the sand is not of the real course which is needed. It might be too coarse. Beach volleyball sand has to be very soft. So the players then struggle sometimes, most of the time, with movement in a proper beach or in a proper beach volleyball court. But we find our athletes also doing well. Not too bad for a nation which doesn't have a natural beach, unless if you go to Binga. But I think we have done well. Under 19 team came with gold and silver for women in the Region 5. We have been participating in the Regional Zone 6 beach volleyball tour, which happens almost every year, and that gives kind of our athletes good participation and training in the natural conditions and the proper conditions of beach volleyball. But otherwise, beach volleyball is a very nice sport, played by two people, I think cost effective as well.
Yeah, it's a fun game. So Binga's got the best sand in the country, Sips.
Your under 20s, they are traveling to Egypt this year. How's the financial aspect of raising funds going?
It's difficult. But we're working very hard for that team to actually make it to the African Nations Championship. The team has done well. I think our juniors have managed to defend the gold for the Region 5 games. Apparently finishing the competition in Namibia without dropping even one set. We're very confident that when they go up there, they will actually hold themselves, do very well, and hopefully we qualify for the under 21 World Championship, because the competition is a qualifier to the World Championship for under 2021. I think we're trying to tie up things in terms of the financial aspect. Yes, we are too far, but we still hoping that the team will manage to pull it through.
But tell us the event you've got to fundraise money for your under-20s to travel to Egypt.
There are a lot of fundraisers which are put forward for that. I think of note, we're trying to put up a fundraising dinner for the team, not only for the team going to Egypt, but also to celebrate what the teams in the Region 5 have done, both boys and girls, both indoor and beach volleyball. That will be another opportunity to fundraise. We're also looking at having a fundraising competition where we'll see our senior club teams coming up to fundraise for that particular cause, because everybody agrees that national team assignments, particularly for volleyball, are now top priority. We have done everything, clubs have done everything, but the national teams are the missing link for us as an association. So we're putting that as top priority.
Well, serving, blocking, spiking, you've got to love a bit of volleyball. Tell us where we can find out more, MX.
Yeah, you can go to our website, www.zimvolley.org. You can also look for us on our Facebook page, Zimbabwe Volleyball Association. You look at it, is Zimbabwe Volleyball Association official page. Those who are on WhatsApp, you can also get us on our WhatsApp channel. Our WhatsApp channel is very live, constantly update to everyone else.
Great stuff. So the Facebook page, Zimbabwe Volleyball Association.
Yeah, so that is the volleyball court, whether it's outdoors, on the beach, on the sand. We're now moving to Bulawayo on the cricket pitch, Queen's Sports Club. Steve, a tough outing against New Zealand in the first test. It was sort of expected, but the good news, the news coming out is that BT, Brendan Taylor, has finally been led into the team. He's going to be playing in the second test, so we'll see how he does again in the Chevron strip.
Yeah, and if you missed that episode of Fanzone, you can go back and watch it. It was an incredible story from Brendan Taylor about addiction, about redemption, back from his 3.5-year ICC ban. So we did get a half century in the club cricket over the weekend, so maybe he's the missing link. Maybe he can provide the resistance that we need, because it was a torrid time in the first test against New Zealand.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be a good match to watch to see how he translates his half century in the local leagues to an international, almost essentially full strength New Zealand squad. So we'll see how Zim do and BT. But in the school rugby section, it was St. George's who finally came out on top of the Kairos rankings. None of the teams were unbeaten. In fact, Peterhouse and St. George's were unbeaten right up until the second last match of the weekend. And then over the weekend, those two teams went head-to-head where St. George's won quite comfortably 31 points to 17. So the victors of the 2025 Kairos rankings. And long lives the Dragon, the Centurion.
Yeah, like you say, nobody managed to go unbeaten, losing their last two there with Peterhouse. What a tough season for Prince Edward. Wow, but lots of exciting games all season long.
So that concludes Beyond the Pitch. We're going to be moving to Rumours and Rubbish, and we'll be discussing what we see and hear in the sporting world of Zimbabwe. Alright, so Rumours and Rubbish, as always, our disclaimer: we see and hear things, we have our own opinions, we're going to discuss them. Don't take it to heart, don't quote us, we're just here to maybe shed a bit of light and have a really great discussion. But Dynamos continues to be one of our centres and focuses of Rumours and Rubbish. Again, Thomas Ruziwe, the assistant coach, had to lead his Glamour boys rather than Calvin Kaindu, who's been absent the whole week. A bit of contractual issues between the executives and Kaindu. So lots of rubbish there. Your coach not being present at your training sessions. I think even the technical director had to lead one of the training sessions at
Yeah, it's dragged for Dynamos now. Is Kindu going to come in? If he is, when is he going to start? And why is it taking so long? Obviously, there's work permit issues, but it needs to be motivating the guys now, especially at this stage of the season. But well done to Ruzive for getting the result on Saturday, nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a step forward for them. One of our players, Shane Marodza, he was signed by the top flight side in Ireland, Kerry FC, in their top division, and he has been allegedly caught stealing. So just 4 days after being signed by Kerry FC, he has been let go for allegedly stealing. So a pity, and I'm sure it must be quite embarrassing.
Very, yeah. So this is firmly in the rubbish category. A professional footballer obviously shouldn't be, well, nobody should, but shouldn't be in such an activity as shoplifting. It was with a teammate as well. Only one appearance then for Shane Marodza, and he was a player that we would have been looking to for the future. So yeah, that was very bad judgment.
Yeah. Do you think this will affect his Warriors call-up? I know he had some involvement in the Warriors.
Yeah, well, if he's lost his club, obviously he needs to be playing regular football to get a Warriors call-up, most likely. So, yeah, this is going to be damaging.
Allegedly also rumours as well as that Kwekwe United are holding a press conference, and you won't believe Harare, of all places, despite being a Kwekwe-based side. So lots of trouble going on in the Kwekwe camp. They've had a torrid 6-7 months PSL, not paying clubs, not paying stadiums, not paying lodging, and now press conference in Harare as opposed to Kwekwe.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such a bad season. So much excitement when Kwekwe United got promoted. Of course, this is all for the fans in Kwekwe, for the community. But couldn't keep Prince Matori, the coach that brought them up, as Central Region champions. And that was a bad sign even before the season started. But there have been so many issues there. It's supposed to be for the fans in Kwekwe, so why the business on this issue is being done in Harare is a big question mark. But it just shows, again, if you're going to get promoted, if you're going to go into the top flight and play with the big boys, you've got to have your structures well established and well sorted out. It's been such a bad time for Kwekwe United.
Yeah, so Kwekwe not doing so great. Also, last place in the league, so definitely relegation for them. Alvin, we know that you have a grievance you want to share with us. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Sibs. Sibs, I'm a fan. I'm a football fan. I'm a coach. I'm so excited to see the Warriors in Morocco for the AFCON. I hope I'll go, but I know everyone gets excited when they see the Warriors, and everyone wants to be behind them. But have you ever wondered where these players are coming from? I mean, you look at Marshall Munetsi, Jalai, Arubi, Kama Billet. They've all been academy players. And there's a lot of work that's being done, in the academies with the coaches, with the staff, even with the groundsmen that help them maintain the facilities. And I feel the amount being charged by the National Association for us academies to affiliate yearly, I think it's like $2,000 per year, is a bit too much. And, we have a lot of WhatsApp groups where a lot of academies from Goromonzi, Rusape, they're complaining like they can't afford this kind of fees. And, if you don't affiliate, you don't get, the grants, you don't get the equipment, you don't get the funding. So it's actually quite disturbing, and I just hope the stakeholders and the National Association will come in and help these academies that even struggle, to get equipment, to get footballs, and for them to pay $2,000, I think it's a bit too much.
It's gone up from $250 to $2,000. Academies are doing great work, given the sparse youth structures that we have. That's the sentiments of many. But if you're not registered, then you can't get onto the FIFA official platform as well, yeah?
Yes, to register players on the FIFA Connect, yeah. Which is very difficult because then you don't get any remuneration. If a player perhaps maybe moves to Arsenal, they'll just go for free, and I think they'll come in and try and help, those academies that can't afford.
So thanks for highlighting this affecting academies around the country, as you say, especially some of the smaller ones as well.
Yes.
It's a lot, yeah.
So an increase of $250 and right up to $2,000 That is quite the jump, Steve.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. Maybe we're missing something. We've had both of the ZIFA vice presidents on the show before, so maybe this is something that we could get more enlightenment on. Tell us what you think as well about this. It is a situation where academies are doing a lot of the work in bringing young players through, even as far as at national team level, so you can post your own thoughts in the comments section as well.
Mx, just to bring you in here, you are the president of the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association. How do you handle academies and subscriptions and affiliation?
I think it's a pretty much a straightforward question because academies, they are a very important stakeholder in terms of talent identification and development. So we used to have a one cut price, or where you have academies paying, I think it was like $500, but then you see that there are also academies which have come to commercialize their operations. They're trying to make money instead of maybe just development. So we've differentiated the academies into two different categories, where you have the community academies, which are really purely looking at developing talent without financial gain at the end of the day. Then we've got academies which are looking at commercializing their operations, while they are also important because they then develop athletes. So we have a two-tier now, where we have got the commercial entities paying a little bit higher amount, and the community academies still paying the old $100.
Mm-hmm. So your basis is still, we don't want to overcharge academies, because at the end of the day, regardless whether it's commercial or community-based, volleyball is being developed, which is the main key component.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh. Well, what an episode that was. Mx and Alvin, thank you so much for sitting in the fan zone with us and taking time out of your day. So thank you for that. If you enjoyed this content, remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you are alerted every time we upload a video. We are also on the fanzone.co.zw website, where you can either sign up for the MWOS PSL Predictor or read daily sports articles on PSL, rugby, hockey, cricket, whatever sport is going on in Zimbabwe. Follow us on all our social media handles, Instagram, X, Facebook. But that's us from the Fanzone studio, and we'll see you guys next week.